In this episode of Tech Over Limits, I'm going to show you how you can make stop motion video using Midjourney's new Zoom feature. Let's go. If you're like me, you probably saw that new Zoom feature on Midjourney and you're like, ooh, what is this? So I started to click on it and then I realized, I wonder if I can use it to zoom out and make frames for stop motion animation. So I started and I tested and I came up with this proof of concept video. Just take a look. Like I mentioned, that is just a proof of concept video based on some things I've done in Midjourney so far. But let's go and fire up Midjourney and I'll show you how I've been doing what I'm doing. Okay, so welcome back. We're looking at my Midjourney Discord channel. And basically I put in a prompt that created a spaceship bridge with a crew member. It's neon lights, lens flares, windows, looking at planets, things like that. Pretty simple prompt. And I'm going to work with this prompt, with this image here. I'm going to upscale too. A couple things about my images. You'll notice some things here. I put a looking from hallway through a door. And the reason why I do that is because I like to restrict the view and also give reference points. So as we zoom back, we want to have a restricted view and we want to give a reference point at some point as we pass through a door so that can keep zooming backwards. What I've found is if you don't restrict the view and that if you don't put in reference points like that, what will happen is that the AI will basically run out of information to create an image and it starts to put black around all the edge and it runs out of information. So basically restricting the information that it has or giving it more information to work off of, such as a hallway and a door or an alleyway and a street, then you're able to overcome those things. The other thing I found out is there is an issue with the stylization. If you put your stylization at like 10, eventually the lights will run together and they'll blend and you'll run out of any kind of image differences for your next generation. So when you're upscaling your next image, it basically is the same thing over again. So I like to put in stylization of 50. I found that works out pretty well. And you can take that and that will allow you to have enough randomness within your future zooms that you can pick the right ones. Now they're down in the future, as you're zooming backwards, you will notice that there will be a door and then the other images don't have one. It's usually, it's a good idea to pick the door. And if there's an alleyway present, it's a good idea to pick the alleyway. So that way you can give the image something else to start zooming back on. The other thing too is if you notice, I have a crew member in the image. I like to have a focal point of something. As you noticed in the proof of concept video, there was a car. And I like to have some kind of focal point where we're zooming back from. So that's basically it. So let's move on to what I've done. So I have basically, this is the, let's go back here real quick. These are the zoom out buttons that have just been added into Midjourney. And I know you've seen them, but I'm just trying to use them in a different way, I think. Basically, I used a custom zoom. I started out doing in my proof of concept, I have some zoom out 2 and zoom out 1.5, but I'm using custom zoom for this tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and use U4. And this is another point that I would like to make is I like to use the upscaled image that I've used the whole time. So if I'm started out using U4, after the first upscaling, I'm going to continue to use U4 over and over and over again. So I basically kept going. So we'll get down here to the bottom. So this is an image here that if you noticed, let me go back real quick. You'll notice that the images are getting farther away from the person, from the crew member. And so we're finally here. So I'm going to use upscale. I'm going to upscale 4. And we'll do a custom zoom. And I put in 1.1. But you can put in any number you want between 1 and 2. And basically, if you do 1.1, that gives you 10 zooms per doubling of your original image. So you'll double your original image twice if you do that. There's kind of a compounding effect there. So while it's generating, I'm going to go over here and show you what I did after. Basically, after that, I took all my images and I just basically chopped them into Clipchamp, and pieced them all together and made that video. So there's nothing magical there. So the more frames you have, the smoother you can make it, of course, things like that. So you just have to experiment with that part. We're almost done here. I'm going to do something else too. I'm going to do a couple 1.5s and see if we can hit a doorway. Actually, I'm going to do a I'm going to upscale that, and then I'm going to do a zoom out too. I'm going to see if we can get into a door. I would like to show you that. And I will be back in just 1 second. Okay, so I'm back, and you can see it generated me a group of images here, and they have a doorway. As you can see, there's different types. You can see the glow, and this is going to provide a reference point for it to zoom back even further and give it information to keep working with. And that is due to the stylization, also including the word doorway or hallway in there. This is what we're trying to do. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do another zoom back. I'm going to pick U4. Now, in this case, you could have picked any of these images to start with. So when you're at a doorway, you can start and upscale a different view depending on which one is the one you would like to go with. But I do try to match them as we go along. So we upscaled this image. So I'm going to do a zoom out again of just 2. And I will be back. Okay, so I'm back and I've got my image, and you can tell that these are farther view from up here. So we'll zoom in, and you can see that the door that we just came through is farther back, and now we're here. So I'm going to upscale this one here. It doesn't matter, but I'm gonna upscale 4 again. Well, then let me see. This one. 4's kind of dead. I'm actually going to pick something that has some life in it. Let's do U3. So as you learn to work with this, you can make your own decisions on this, on how you want to pursue it. If you always mess up, you could always go back and start regenerating again, upscaling another image that might work out to another path to the end where you're going. To do a video, it's going to take a little bit of time of generation. You're going to have to do quite a few slides, but I think that there's a potential to have a really neat outcome, really neat stop motion animation. So just play with it and have fun. So I hope you found this tutorial on Midjourney's new Zoom feature and how I'm using it to make stop motion animations and videos interesting. You know, I found it fun and I found it exciting. And I just want to let other people know about it. You know, I started Tech Over Limits channel for people like you. I wanted to let people know about cool tech, and I thought this was a good way to do it. If you found this video interesting or useful, just give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Also, I'm really interested in hearing about what you think of this new Zoom feature on Midjourney and how you're using it. So please leave a comment below. And I will be uploading videos on a regular basis, not necessarily tutorials about Midjourney specifically, but I will be uploading videos about tech in general. But I think that you will like them and I will keep them fun. So remember, my name is AT and your only limit is your tech. And I'll see you in the next video. I think that did okay.